Alright guys, welcome to another tutorial. In this one, I'll show you real quick what we're going to be making. Something along the lines of this. See that stack of blocks up there, that is a stationary turret. And when you walk in range of it, it makes that freaky noise, the top comes up, it looks at you, and it starts to shoot projectiles. Another one over here. So I guess you'd call it kind of like a proximity turret kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be making. Let's delete both of those. So to get started, down in your content browser, right click, create a new folder, and we'll call this, I guess, proximity turret, and crack that open. Right click, new blueprint class, and of type actor, we'll call this proximity turret BP. Is that recording? Yeah. It's super early this morning. I woke up and I'm not usually awake this early. It's bloody 6 AM. I'm never usually awake this early. But I woke up and I felt like shooting this tutorial, so let's get it. Once you're in this proximity turret BP, go add component. We'll add a static mesh and we'll call this body, and that will be a cube. That'll just be the base of the turret. We'll make this a bit bigger. We might make this 2, like that. Alright, and then we'll go add component, and then we'll say another static mesh. So this is just building the body of the turret. So this one here, we want like a pillar kind of thing, some kind of pole for it to come up on. So maybe we can go shaped cylinder perhaps. I think I used the pillar for the last one, but let's use the shaped cylinder. So if you unlock the scale here, just change the X and the Y to maybe 0.5 and 0.5 like that, so it's a bit thinner. And if we look at the Z, maybe we want to change the Z to 2 times, so it's a bit longer. So if I were to hit, if you right click in your viewport and then you hold Alt and then H, you can go to a side view like this, and you can change this. So if you change this to -100 on the Z, this cube will be 200 units wide, because originally it was 100 units, but we scaled it to 2 times the scale, so that'll be 200 units wide. So if we move this down from the center down 100 units, that should be flush with the bottom like that. And then when the turret activates, we can have it move all the way up like this. So we'll have that down at 100. And then if you right click in your viewport again and hold Alt and then G, you can go back to your normal view like this. Maybe that is too long as well. Maybe we'll just change this to like 1.2 or something like that, and we'll connect the top to the end of that. Maybe 1.5. We'll play with that later. Okay, anyway, that is going to be called, I don't know, neck perhaps. Add component, static mesh, and this time we'll say head. And this static mesh is going to be, it could be whatever you want. Maybe we can go with a sphere for this one, a material sphere. Now the scale of this is all wacko, so what if we attach that back to the scenery like that, and then we set its scale to default like that, 1, 1, and 1, and then lock it. And then if we attach it back to the neck and we move him up, he should be a circle again. Beautiful. Okay, so that's up at okay, so we'll change the X here to maybe 2 times like that. And that's going to be the head. That can move up and down. You can make this a sphere, a cube if you want. We're going to roll with a sphere for this one. So that's how he's going to look, something like that. Beautiful. Now what we might do is we might just add an eye, so we know which way he's facing really quick. So we'll go another static mesh, like this. We'll call this one eye, and this one can be another sphere. And we'll attach that to the head, I believe, just like that. And we'll move this up like this. Oops, sorry. Click on the eye. If you set the position to default, that should be in the center of the head because it's attached to the head. Now just bring it forward on the X like that to something like, I don't know, yeah, 120, and then I might change the scale of this to 0.2 or something like that. So that's the eye. Geez, that's a funny looking turret, but whatever, it'll do the job. Alright, let's get started in the blueprint. So go in the blueprint, delete everything. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event, and this custom event is just going to be called activate, and this is what's going to be called when we walk in range of this turret. It's going to activate and it's going to start attacking. We'll also have a deactivate event, so if you go custom event and say deactivate, we'll call this one when we want to leave the volume. So we might just add the volume in now actually already. So if we go add component, we can type in collision and go sphere collision. Just leave that called sphere, and that's already centered right in the middle. Just go to sphere radius over here in the details panel and just scale that up to maybe like 1,000. Just like that, and whenever you walk in that this thing is going to activate. Beautiful. Okay. So we could probably set that up already actually. With your sphere selected, right click and say begin overlap. Like this. And then right click, select your sphere again, right click and say end overlap. And you want these nodes, which are add on component end overlap and add on component begin overlap. And what we're going to do off of this, off of other actor, we're going to say equal object, and off of this we're going to say get player character. So this is just a check testing if the actor that overlapped the sphere is the player character. So we'll hook that up to a branch like that, and if it is the player character that's overlapped the box, then we're going to say activate, and we're going to activate our blueprint. And then the same one for this one, for the end overlap. If we stop overlapping the player character, then we're going to deactivate, just like that. So we could already test if that works. We could say print string hello for activate, and we could say print string goodbye, godbye, whatever. I'm just going to dock that up into the same panel as this. Now if we drop one of these guys in the world just like that, move it over there a bit. Alright, we walk in range, hello, leave range, goodbye. Beautiful. So that works. So we can delete these now. So I guess the first thing that we'll do is we'll get the head to look at the player. So off of activate, we're going to say timeline, and this is going to be called combat timeline, and this is going to control everything that this enemy does once it's activated. So activate is going to be hooked up to play, and deactivate is going to be hooked up to stop, but there might also be some other stuff that we'll add in here later, but for now this is the basic idea. So double click your timeline, click loop so that it's looping. We can close that down, and then what we're going to do is off of update we're going to say set world rotation, and we're going to be setting the world rotation of the head. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the head to constantly be looking at the player. So to do that, off of new rotation we say find look at rotation, and we want to find the rotation required to look from the start being our location. Sorry, not our location. We want to say get world's location of the head, like that. So we want to find the rotation required to look from our head to the target, which is the player character. So this will be get actor location, and off of the object we'll say get player pawn, get player character, same thing. Well, not the same thing, but it'll do. Okay, so now he should look straight at us while we're in range. Let's test that out. There we go. And it'll follow you as you walk around. Jesus Christ. That's terrifying. Okay. So we can collapse this to a function, and I'm going to call this update rotation to look at player. A bit clumsy, but you get the point. It's descriptive. Okay. Now what we might do is we might add a little macro in the beginning here to actually make the pole rise up and down like you would have seen at the start. When this thing saw you, it didn't only look at you with the head, but this rose up like that so that it could reach over, see over more objects and obstacles in the world and be able to shoot you easier. Oh, I just realized this. If you've ever played Breath of the Wild, this is kind of what the Guardian turrets look like. They've got a spherical head, they move up like that, and they've got the little eye that if you hit them and they get disabled. That's kind of cool. Anyway, so we want to create a little macro here to get the head to move up and down. So let's create a macro, and we'll call this move neck position, like that. Now add an input and an output. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, yeah, we want that, but we want them to be execution pins, just like that. Okay, and I think we want to call this in. I don't know what you actually want to call it. I'm just going to call it in, and this one can just be end. Okay. So we're going to need a set relative location node, and the location that we're going to be setting is of the neck, like that. So we'll hook neck up to, sorry, there we go, get rid of self. Okay, so drag your neck in, and then off of neck say set relative location. And the way that we're going to do this is going to be a lerp vector down here. The alpha can just be 0.5, and what we're going to set the relative location to each time is we're going to have a target down here, new target location, like that. And we're going to have in A, we're going to say get, sorry, drag in your neck again, and we'll say get relative location, like that, and hook that up into A. So what this is doing is every time this node is called, is it's going to set our relative location to halfway between what our current location is and what our target location is. And the idea is that we're going to call this node again and again and again repeatedly, so it's consistently going to be halving the distance between us and the target location, which will result in a really smooth movement. So that's over there like that. Now what we want to do is we're going to have a we might set the target location here like this, and we might hook that up to the input like that, so we can use this in several different locations. This will make sense afterwards when it's all complete. Just bear with me while we go through it all. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a branch here, and this is going to check if we're at the location that we've set at the target location, and if we're not, we're going to go in through and we're going to run this. Then what we might do is we'll wait for some time, maybe 0.05 seconds, and then we'll go back through and we'll check if we're at the location yet or close enough to it. You know what we might do actually is let's set that to false. Hang on. So we'll hook this up like this, and off of true we'll use a not condition here just to keep it neater. Not equal, hang on, what do we want? Not boolean is the one we want. Okay, so if we're not at the position, then what we're going to do is we're going to move closer to the position using this, we're going to wait, and then we're going to check if we're at the position again. So if you double click there like that, you can add a reroute node. I like to lay out my blueprint, sorry about that stuff around, but I like to lay out my blueprint so that you can, at a glance, like from back here, you can visually see kind of what's going on. Like you're coming into the macro, you're checking a condition. If you get some result, we're going to do a thing, and we're going to loop back and then check the condition again and it's just going to keep going until we eventually end down here like that. that's why I go to the hassle of laying it out nicely, because if it's just a big spaghetti of wires crossing over everywhere, you come back to this the next day, or God forbid a month later, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? So it's worthwhile going that extra step. And it's also good to comment things as well. Like if you highlight your nodes like this, you can say, you press C and you can say, check if at target location. And, well, I should say check if not at target location, because we're going to use that. And if we're not at the target location, then we're going to say move closer to target location. This will save you a massive headache later on when you're looking back at your code and you're trying to figure out what it does. Alright, so with all that said, now we just need to set up the check here properly. So we just say equal vector. Vector A is going to be new target location, and we're going to be checking, is the target location equal to get, we'll need neck, and we'll say get relative location. Is the target location equal to the relative location of the neck within, say, I don't know, 5 units, just like that. Okay. So is it not equal to that? If it's not equal, if they're not equal, move closer. If it is equal, we're done here. Okay, so that's done. Now what we do is we say move neck position, and we drag that into here just like this. And then we say end, we start shooting, and we start looking at the player. Now we want to do the same thing over here for deactivate as well. Now in this top one, we're going to be moving up. So if we go to our viewport and we go to neck, this is at -50 right there. We want it to move up to, say, there, I guess, 100. Well, it says 100 on here, but in the scale, in the actual location over here, it says 50. And I'm assuming that's because this is set to 2 times. So I'm guessing we'll use the location that's actually in here, because this is the relative location, which is the one that we're going to be setting. So we'll type in 50 for one, and we'll type in, I guess, -50 for the other one. Okay, so we'll go into the event graph. New target location when we're moving up is going to be 50, because it's relative location, and then -50 when we're moving down. Now fingers crossed that works. Let's see. It might be a bit fast or something. Yeah, beautiful. And then it moves back down. Cool. And he's looking at you as well. Alright. I think it could make it a little bit smoother. Like if we drag off of this and we say get world delta seconds, that's the time between frames, I'm pretty sure. And maybe we'll set this to 0.2. So it's not moving straight to half. It's moving to whatever is 0.2. It's leaning more towards the relative location of the neck rather than the target location. It's closer to, I don't know how to explain that, but it's 0.2 closer to this. That didn't make any fucking sense. That doesn't matter. Alright, let's just try. It should just make it look smoother. Okay, there we go. It's not jumping as much. Cool. And he'll look at you once he's up. But what we could do to make that looking a bit smoother as well is if we go into update location to look at, update rotation to look at player, is we can actually use a lerp here as well. So we could say lerp rotator. B is the new rotation, so we'll hook up the look at down there. And for A, we'll say get world's rotation of, what are we updating? The head, I believe, yeah. So we'll get the current rotation of the head, and we're going to be changing it to the rotation to look at the player. The alpha can be maybe 0.5 for this one, because we want it to be kind of quick. And we want it to take the shortest path as well. Actually, you know what? It can look kind of cool when it goes around the wrong way. Just make this thing even more demonic looking. Yeah, check that out. Alright, so he stopped looking at us. Now if we come around here. Yo. That's creepy. Let me just try one more. I want to come around the back and I want to see if he turns around the wrong way. No, he didn't. But that's still sweet. Alright. So that's all done, and he'll follow you around while you're running around. So I guess now what we could do is we could add some shooting, get him to shoot some projectiles at you. Actually, before we do that, let's just update his materials real quick. So let's make all of his materials the same, all his static meshes of the same material. So drag in body, drag in neck, and drag in head. We'll do the eye separately, and we're just going to say set material. This is in the construction script, by the way. Set material. I believe we can hook them all up to that. Yeah, we can. So we can set them all at once. And the material, we might as well make that a variable. We can call this body material, like that. Okay, and that can just be cube material, like that. So now he should be a uniform color. There we go, just like that. Now the next thing that we want to do is if we grab the eye, we're going to say create dynamic material instance. And what we're going to do for the eye is we're going to give him an emissive eye that can change color. So if we go into our content browser like this, we might just add a new material, and we'll call this proximity turret eye. Now my computer really doesn't like working with materials while I'm recording anyway, so this might get a little bit laggy, but we should be okay. Hold 3 and left click for a 3 vector, hold M and left click for a multiply, hook the output of the 3 vector into the A of the multiply, and then hook that up into emissive color. Using on your multiply node, select constant B and set that to say 10, and then right click your color vector and convert that to a parameter and call that color, just like that. Now we should be able to just save that, and with any luck this won't take 1,000 years, but you never know. Oh, I'm just gonna get a drink really quick. If you're ever on YouTube, by the way, and someone's taking too long to explain something, you can just tap the arrows on your keyboard to skip ahead a couple of seconds. That's something that I do because I'm just one impatient motherfucker. So if we just change the color of that to something that looks, I don't know, something that'll actually look cool and emissive, like red. Now would be a good time to test out that arrow tapping idea. Alright, there we go. So now that we've got that, if we go back into our construction script and we go to source material of create dynamic material instance, we can set that to our proximity turret eye, just like that. And now off of the return value like that, like this, we can promote this to a variable, and we can say we're going to call this dynamic eye material, like that, because we're going to use this later to change the color of the eye. Cool. And now off of this one here, or you could go off of the return value because they're the same thing. You could say set color, set vector parameter value. Okay. And we called our color in the material blueprint color, I believe, like that. And then off of value, we're going to promote this to a variable, and we're going to call this eye color. So now we can change the eye color to whatever the hell we want. So if we go into the viewport, see now it's black. If we change this to say green, it's green. Hell, we could even make a function to change it between rainbow colors if we wanted. But let's not do that for now. Let's just leave that as green. Okay. So that's spooky. What we'll do down here is we have this move neck position thing. But what we might also create is we might create a function called update eye color, like this. And what this is going to look like is just drag your dynamic eye material in and say set vector parameter value, like that. And let's just go back to our variables, and where it says eye color, change that to default eye color, and then hold Control W to duplicate that and call this activated eye color. Actually, instead of default eye color, call that deactivated eye color. Okay, compile and save. Now, vector parameter value is going to be called color, and we're going to hook the value of color up here to the input node of the function, and we're just going to call this color, like that. So now we can close that down, and we can drag update eye color into here like this. Oops. And into play, and we can copy that node and drag it down here as well to deactivate. And you probably guessed it, deactivate eye color is going to go down here, and then activated eye color is going to go up here. So activated eye color can be green, deactivated eye color I guess can be white. And instead of green, actually, let's make him red, because he's angry. We want him to look angry. So he changes from white to just chilling to red when he's activated, and it's going to be really scary. Okay, let's just check that that works. So there he is, just chilling, being a happy little proximity turret, and then dun dun, spooky. He's watching you. You know what? Let's go into this move neck position node. What we're gonna do is, instead of hooking that up to false like that, what we're gonna have is we're just gonna go over here, and we're gonna say, off of this, we're just gonna say sequence like this, and then hook that up to end like that. And so what this is going to do is it's going to update the position of the neck, but instead of waiting for that to be updated, it's just going to continue on with the rest of the code. Because what happened just before was the color didn't change until the neck was all the way up, so now the color will change immediately, just like that. It's a lot more snappy. Yeah, check that out. Boom. Alert. Okay. Cool. So the next thing is we want to give this thing the ability to shoot, I guess, and then we're almost done. So off of update, add in sequence. This first one is just going to be looking at the player, and what it's also going to do at the same time is we're going to be shooting at the player as well. So we'll create a quick projectile, something super basic. Just right click in here, new blueprint class, actor, just call this simple projectile, like that. Add component, static mesh. If you don't want to know how to do this, you can just skip through it, by the way. But I better show you how to do it in case you've never created a projectile before. You can use whatever projectile you want. You don't need to use the one I'm making now, because this one won't do damage or anything. So static mesh, we'll just make this a sphere. Material sphere, just like that. Make it a little bit smaller, 0.5 size, or maybe even 0.25, just like that. And we'll make you simulate physics. We'll disable gravity, and simulation generates hit events. Actually, I can't even be bothered making it explode. Let's just have him shoot this thing at you, and it can bounce around and do whatever. Okay, so off of then one, we're going to say spawn actor. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to say delay, and every however many seconds, which will promote to a variable, and we'll call this fire rate, like that. And the fire rate can be, I don't know, 2 seconds for now. Every 2 seconds, we're going to spawn actor from class, and that actor is going to be simple projectile. And the spawn transform, this is important. That's going to be an error now because we don't have a spawn transform, so let's hit compile and save again to get rid of the error. Now we need to add in a scene component. So type in scene, and this is just a empty thing that has a transform, and we'll call this spawn point, like that. And this is where our thing's going to spawn from. So let's parent that to attach that to the eye, like that. And then if we change the location to 0 like that, and then drag it forward just a bit so it doesn't actually spawn in the eye but just outside of the eye, maybe like there, that's where our projectiles are going to spawn from. So now we drag that into our event graph, say get world transform, like that. And then what we might do is we might split that, and we'll split this one as well. Hook up the location and the rotation like that, but leave this scale as 1, 1, 1. Because I don't know what the scaling is going to do with this. It's going to be something retarded, so let's just leave that as 1, 1, 1 there. So your projectiles will always be the same size. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to get static mesh, which was our sphere, and then we need to set a velocity for this thing. So we're going to say set physics linear velocity is the one we want, and the velocity that we're going to set it to is going to send it flying directly towards the player. So to do that, what we need is we need a thing called a unit direction vector, and this is a vector of length 1 from a position to another position. So into from, we're going to say get world location of the spawn point, because that's where it's spawning from, and we're going to get the player character down here, and we're going to say get actor location, and we're going to hook that up to 2 because we're going from the spawn point to the character's location. And now this is only a length of 1, so we go multiply by float, and then we multiply that by a variable which we're going to call projectile speed, like that. Now if we go compile and save, set the default of that to 1500, it'd be quite slow, but it's good enough. And then we set that as the velocity, I believe, and that should be all good. So what we could do is we could collapse all of this here, except for the delay node. We won't include that, and we'll call this a new function, and it'll be spawn projectile at player, like that. Beautiful. And what we could do actually, we could just add a cheeky sound in here as well. I'm pretty sure I've got a sound in this project file, which I'll hook you up with a link if you want to use it for a game. Spawn sound at location. I think it was called laser. Yeah, we can use that, and the location will just be the world location of the spawn point. So we'll copy that and hook that up into there like this, and I might just lower the pitch a bit to make it sound a bit funny. Okay, so let's go play. Check that out. He's definitely shooting. Beautiful. And they're just floating away because they don't have any gravity on them. So if we wanted to make them explode, it's actually quite easy. Delete all of this. Static mesh, make sure simulation generates hit events is ticked down there. Right click and say hit, event hit. Actually no, we don't want that. We want to click the static mesh and then say component hit. Add on component hit, and then as soon as it hits something, let's just say spawn emitter at location, and that can just be an explosion, and the location can be the location of the mesh wherever it hits. So say get world location, like that. We could say spawn sound at location as well, and the sound can just be an explosion. And the location is the same as the emitter, and then we'll just say destroy actor self. So it'll make an explosion and then it'll disappear as soon as it hits something. Okay, play. Bang. And if it misses me, it still works. Oh, he's glitching out, look at him. Oh, he's alright. Oh, but he still shoots once he's deactivated. So we can change that. That'll be quite easy, I think. Oh god, my computer just froze. Are we alright? Oh my god, we're already 34 minutes in. My lord. Alright, let's give it a minute. Okay, we're all good. We're back. What was I going to do? Oh, we were going to make it so that he wouldn't shoot when he was down. So this is basically the tutorial done, by the way. I think I might show you how to make tiers and stuff like that afterwards. I will just keep going. You can stop whenever you want, whenever you get bored, you know. But at the moment he's fully functional. Like this is pretty much all we're going to be doing, like in terms of major development, I guess. This is just going to be fine tuning from here on. and just making cool shit to add onto it. So we were going to make a thing to make sure that he couldn't shoot while he was deactivated. So what we could do, my voice is getting sore. In variables, add a new boolean, which will be activated with a question mark. Compile and save. Default will be false, and then in here, whenever we're activated, we'll set that to true, like that, and then copy and paste that down here like this, and whenever we're deactivated, we'll set that to false, and then down here where we've got the delay, we can just add a branch in here, and we can just check, are we activated? And if we're not activated, then we won't fire the projectile. Easy as that. So now if I'm in here, he shoots, and then I leave, he won't shoot. Beautiful. Looks at me. You know what we could do as well? Let's give him a light so that he's got like a big spotlight that he shoots at us. So go into add component and type in, maybe we'll roll with a point light actually. And we'll just call that light, and we'll attach that to the eye, and then we'll reset its location to 0, 0, 0 like that, and we'll just bring it out a bit. Check that out. Fuck, that's scary. So what should it look like? Should it be right in the center? No, we'll put it like there, like that. That's cool. Okay, and then in the construction script, what we're going to do is just after we've... So this here is setting the material of the body. So we can comment that and say body. This here is eye material. So we'll comment that and say eye material. And then off of this, we're going to get our point light. We're going to drag that in, and we're going to say set light color. And the new light color that we're going to be giving him is going to be the same as our deactivated eye color, like that. And we'll highlight that, comment, and say eye color. And then back in our event graph where we had that function where we update the eye color, instead of just setting the emissive material color, we can also set the light color. So drag in light, and we can say set light color. Set light color. And that can be the same as this actually. Just hook it up to there, just like that. And that's done. So now he should have a light on him. That'll update. That'll update when he sees you. So yeah, that's way cooler, isn't it? Check that out. Yo, fucking hell. That's awesome. That's so scary. We could also change the color of the projectiles so the projectiles are the same color as his eye. So to do that, go into your event graph, find the spawn projectile at player function, and so that there's just the sound. So we could probably just collapse that, just like this, so that it's nice and small and neat and tidy. I can't be bothered tidying this up. Let's just get the static mesh like that, and we're going to say create dynamic material instance like this, and hook that up into sound on the output. The source material is going to be proximity turret eye. So same deal, proximity turret eye, and we're going to say set vector parameter value, and hook all of that up. And the value that we're setting was called color, and the color that we're going to be setting it to is the activated eye color. And now the projectile should be the same color as whatever the activated eye color is, which can be red, green, blue, purple, pink. Boom. Check that out. He doesn't seem to like coming around here. Maybe that's... I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. That's alright, he's fine. Just looks like he's got Tourette's or something. Awesome. Alright, one more thing that we could do is, I did have a spooky sound in the other one, in the demo that I showed you, and that was just made here. So we say spawn sound at location. The location of the sound is just going to be, I guess, the actor location, so we can say get actor location like that, And the sound, what have I called it? Danger 1, I think. That's just a spooky sound I made in Reaper. You guys can use that. I'll put a link to that in the description. Fucking go nuts. Use it for whatever you want. I don't care. So if we walk in now. Oh, I love it. And then he's just chilling again. We could actually make him turn the light off if we wanted. So, nah, look, I can't be bothered. Actually, no, you know what, I can. So we're going to have branch at the end here. And we're going to grab our light. And we're going to say set intensity. Like that. And we're just going to hook new intensity up to this, like that. So that's going to be the light intensity. Now this is getting super messy, but whatever. We don't even need that branch, actually. Let's just have it like this. Easy. Now, when we activate, set the intensity to 5000, I think was the default. And then when we deactivate, set the intensity to, I don't know, maybe 1000. Just so it's a bit dim. Because it looked a bit too bright when he was just chilling before. So that's really bright now because we haven't changed it in the construction script. But when we activate, it looks normal. And then it should go a bit dim. Yeah, that looks nicer to me. So go to light and just change the intensity here to 1000. So it'll just start on 1000 and look chill. Okay. Is there anything else that I could do? Oh, I was going to show you how to make tiers, wasn't I? So down here in your variables, click body material and say category and say tiers like this. And what we're going to do is in this new category is we're going to put all of the things that could potentially be changed with the tier. So we'll put in deactivated eye color, activated eye color, fire rate, projectile speed, and I believe that's it. The rest of them are all changed in the blueprint, so we don't want to be trying to set them on the outside. So now, if we right click on this guy, proximity turret, and go create child blueprint class, child 01 can be him. We'll duplicate this, that'll be 02. Child 02. And then if we hold Control W and duplicate that, we'll get child 3. And basically, we'll delete this one from the level because he was a parent. Now, these are the tiers, the 3 tiers, 3 levels of difficulty, and they're the ones that we're going to put in the level. So if we open these up to change all their parameters, so we can give them tiered difficulty, we just need to find number 1. So this is number 1. Click on proximity turret BP underscore blah 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 at the top there, and then if you go over to the details panel, scroll down to where it says tiers. Now we can change the body material. So maybe this guy can be asset platform. So he's a nice shiny white. Deactivated eye color can be white. Activated can be red. Fire rate can be 2. Projectile speed can be 1500. Easy. He's nice and easy. Now, next one. So this is number 2. Scroll down to where it says tiers. Actually, let's open the full blueprint editor so we can see what he looks like. Alright, so that's what he looks like right now. Let's say this guy's body material is going to be... What if we make him out of, like, clay or something? Yeah, look, sure, why not? Makes him look tough, you know? Deactivated eye color can be white again, but this guy, when he's activated, let's make him blue. Just so when the player finds him, he notices that he's different, and it's like, oh shit, we should be scared. Fire rate should be 1. Projectile speed can be 2500, so it'll be a bit faster. Beautiful. Yeah, no, that's fine. And then if we go blueprint editor of the third one, click on viewport. So this is what he looks like right now. Let's make his body material something just outrageous. Maybe he can be a camouflage one, so we'll go ground moss. And deactivated eye color. Well, we could make that green, I guess. We'll make it green to start, and then when he's activated, we'll make it something just psycho, like purple or pink. That's going to be hideous. And this guy can be absolutely terrifying, so he can fire every quarter second, and the projectile speed can be 5000. That'll be quite hard to dodge, I believe. Alright, cool. So if we put him there, put this guy up here like this, and then maybe we'll put the green one over in the corner. I wonder if we could, if I go in the content browser and I type in grass. So if I grab this ground grass, and what if I put that on the walls to camouflage him, you know? So it's not so obvious. Alright, let's go. Let's have a look. So walk in proximity. Yo, he's angry. Bang. And then he's chill again. Now, let's try number 2. Oh, check that out. That's badass. We get 2 of them after us. And then this guy. He's actually got like a bit of a short head. I love it. Alright, one more thing that we could do is, because these guys all have the same activation radius. So if we go into our proximity turret and go to the parent blueprint, go to the construction script, and then off the end here, grab your sphere, which was the overlap trigger thing. And if you drag off of that, you can say set radius, set sphere radius. And then what we can do is we can drag off of that and we can promote that to a variable and call that activation radius, like that. We can also make that public and then attach that to the tiers folder, like that. So compile and save. Now, I believe the default, we should make that 1000 because that's what the other guys were. And now if we get out of this and we go in here, you can see the yellow sphere around this guy. We can now scale that up and down. So maybe that guy can be nice and close to activate him. This one can maybe be a bit further away, and then maybe this guy just has the ultimate range, you know, something like that. So now I have to walk in close to get him activated. He's activated a lot further back. I'm not sure why he's twitching like that, but it doesn't seem to affect the gameplay. Anyway, and then this guy. You can just imagine like walking through a nice grassy field in your game, and then all of a sudden this dude just pops up out of nowhere like behind a hill and then just starts blasting. So if we were to put an obstacle in front of him, like we could put this cube in like this, and make that just nice and big like this, I guess. So it's like you can kind of see him up there, but you kind of can't. Actually, maybe we can make it a bit bigger like that. Bit of a wall. And maybe we'll drag it up a bit. So yeah, you really can't see him behind it. And then you come in. Right, so it's just a cube. You walk in. Alright, so he's a bit too short. So we can drag that down like that. So you're just walking through, you know. And then bang. This guy just jump scares you and just freaks you out. Yeah, that's awesome. Alright, hopefully that video is actually recording smoothly, because in the last one I had a few problems with it. Oh, I'd hate for you guys to miss out on this, because this looks bloody funny as hell. Is there anything else I want to make? Nothing I can think of right now. So we might just leave that there then, guys. All of the sounds and things that I've added into this, like that scary sound when he activates and the laser shooting sound, I'll put a link to a Dropbox folder in the description of the video, so you can download those. They'll be WAV files, so just download them and then copy them into the content folder of your game, and you should be sweet to use them. Again, I don't care how you use them for whatever you want, whatever projects you want. I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you like this tutorial, let me know as well. This was fun to make, actually. I might make some more of these, some more bizarre enemy blueprints if you guys want them. So leave me any questions. I'll do my best to answer them if anything was unclear. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.